I know, he's always.
You're going to pass it to the superintendent. You can just
Has
grab.
anyone heard from Dean? He's usually like this one.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this order, the Monday, October 21st, 2024 school committee to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll open up this time for public comment. If there's anybody here that's for public comment, please come up here, state your name, address. Yeah, go right ahead. Yes.
Yes. Bob Rescue.
Yep, excuse us, guys. Yep.
Bob Rescue on Leominster.
This time.
Yep.
And so, as a concerned citizen, a father and a grandfather of both boys and girls, I know there was a proposal for the JJID, Scholastic Athletic Policy, to allow female athletes and coaches to forfeit a game without negative consequences if there's a male on the opposing team. I know that was just discussed, and one of the concerns was if people had come into another area that had a sport that they used to for the male players, and we don't have that. It didn't seem fair to them, but I would rather say that it's unfair to our girls who have to change what they're used to doing, I guess, in the same situation. I would like to see us put the same policy forward that Dyke Republic has, to allow both the student athlete and the coaches to make that decision for their safety sake if the opposing team has a male on the female team. I think it's like this is a perfect time to be doing this. We're in the height of sports season, more sports coming up very soon. I see no reason that actually move this forward immediately. I'd love to see this put before the entire school board to actually put a vote on it and move it forward for the safety of our girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Second time. Chris, anybody online? Okay. Close. Oh, okay. Close this section for public comment. Communications? Superintendent? No communications. Student report?
He's right here.
So the high school dunk club held a city representative debate. The LHS dunk club held a state representative debate at the high school on Thursday between Isabella and Michigan. And homecoming was held this Saturday. And in CPI, 27 students are now in co-op, which is a state public and CPI.
Thank you. Superintendent's report? You want this microphone?
So this,
I'm not sure if that goes over everything.
no, we could.
I can write it over to you. You're welcome.
There are a few important upcoming dates that I would want our community, our families to be aware of. The is the early release that is this Wednesday. I would just ask that families check their school schedule to be sure that pick up time at your schools. We appreciate everybody's support in helping us with our professional development staff, which occurs in the afternoons of these days. The other is we are coming to the end of the first semester term, and any parent or any family or caregiver that has a middle school student or a high school student, we're encouraging you to prompt them to make sure all of their assignments are in on time so that we can have accurate grade results for all of our students. Finally, I just want to mention that we have an election coming up November 5th, and that is a day that schools are closed to students because many of our schools are used for voting, and for the safety of our students, we close on those days. They are days for staff to come in and have full professional development, so our staff will all be in, it will just be our students who will not be there on the Tuesday. The other thing is tonight we have a special evening where we are celebrating our teachers who have earned professional status. Professional status is when a teacher has worked for 3 consecutive years in Leominster Public Schools without any interruption to service. And so it's a very special evening because, as you know, teachers are extraordinarily important in students' lives. They recognize where our students need support. They recognize opportunities for growth in our students. They encourage our students to have a productive struggle and to achieve and accomplish great things. And so we're not going to have much of a superintendent report tonight because I want to ensure that we dedicate the time tonight to honoring our teachers. And so with that, I'm going to ask Steve Ramoni, our assistant superintendent, who is in charge of HR, to come out to the podium. And we're going to take a few minutes to transition.
Yep.
Transition over to the table for our school committee so that we can start being on.
Right?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
Did he say he wasn't coming?
Oh, it's his birthday.
Right, all the way along the small table.
And I think Jennifer
Got a bad shot.
has stopped senior night yet.
I thought you were just noticing.
Okay.
So, yes.
How are you doing?
She's gonna appear.
Okay,
I am.
okay, thank you, Superintendent Deke,
Feel like racing.
Superintendent Desmond. I'm bound to do that.
Thursday nights.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming and attending this special event. I want to take a moment to thank the wonderful staff in Human Resources, in the Human Resource Office, who worked so hard to put this together. So thank you to Wanda Toledo, Christy Ledger, and Michelle Hammond. And without them, we wouldn't be able to put this together. I would also like to thank all of our teachers that are being recognized tonight. You've worked so hard, and it took a village, right? So I'm sure you join me in thanking your mentors, your classroom colleagues, your department heads, all of the people that also helped you get here, and the building leaders. So it does take a village. So I just would like to say a quote that I think is appropriate. A teacher affects eternity. He or she can never tell where their influence stops. And that's a quote from Henry Brooks Adams. And that speaks to the wonderful effect that our teachers have on our students. So now I'd like to go along with the ceremony here. I'd like to ask the building admin to come up when your school is called and join the receiving line here. PTO teachers will have you, when your name is called, please come up. You receive your apple here and then proceed through the line with the handshakes, and then you can return to your seat. After the ceremony, we'll have a short recess where you can have a little snack, and then you're free to leave. You don't have to stay for the entire school committee meeting. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Actually today.
Yes.
Mine was, Saturday.
Okay, we'll start with Free Street School. So if we can have the admin come on up. Our first teacher is Rachel Baker. Next, we have Andrea Charpentier. And Casey Maxner. Also from our Early Childhood Center, unable to be here tonight, Kristen Martin. Next we will have public school. First, we have Emily Butler. Next, Julia Howard. Kate Miller.
I turned mine off.
Heather Donovan. Erica Scott. And unable to be here tonight, Amanda Fitzpatrick.
It makes the people online here, but you can't project here.
Also unable to be here tonight from Francis Drake, Courtney Roberts. And next we have Johnny Appleseed School. First, we have Casey Buckley. Peter Downey. Paul Rondo. Christina Osborne. Jace Stamirovich. Michaela Rose.
Congrats.
And unable to attend, Amber Edmonds. Next, we have Northwest School. Kaylin Basso. Flora McIntyre. Laura Pinard. Also from Northwest, but unable to be here, Carol Riley. And Kristen Saya. Good. Next, we have Somerset School. Nathania Demartini. Sonia Sum. Elise Walkman. And unable to attend, Chantel Gerard. Okay, Skyview School. This year, Skyview gets the award for most PTS teachers for this year. First, we have Sarah Boucher. Rebecca Blaine. Candace Churchill. Don Cronin. Megan Landry. Kyle Nade. Emily Pesco-Solido. Corey Phillips.
Congratulations.
Brittany Romero. Glenn Rossi. Karen Tamilovich. And unable to attend, Andrea Bellata.
Congratulations.
LCE, Leominster Center for Excellence. Chantal McGrady.
The same kid.
And unable to attend, Leah Price. And we have our Center for Technical Education next. And we have Emily McLaughlin. Okay, we have a few members from Leominster High School that are unable to attend. We have Nicole Harris. Courtney Morse. Justin Roberts. And Megan Robinall. As you can see, we had a record number. This evening, we had 46 receiving. Congratulations.
This doesn't need to be part of it. Thank you. So I'm a little changed on this, we keep saying, and your job is become more. So you brought your own kids up here. You just not always put that it's right. All of my teachers are. And how many times do you stop a teacher that you had many, many years ago? What do you think about them and think what impact they on their life? Every single one of those kids have an impact in their life. And thank you for being able to show up. Everyone could have done something else. You chose this, sure this is your passion, something that led me to this, and you got a school committee that's 100%. So thank you for what you do, and I know that days when you just start scratching, like one with the songs. Thank you.
Dean, I'd like to make a motion to have a brief recess for the reception.
All right, it's time to party.
happenings at Skyview for the 2024-2025 school year. And there is slides that go with this. I think Kyle's getting them up for us right now. Great. So just some updates to Skyview that happened over the summer. We replaced part of the back roof over the entrance. So that was an update. We also got some brand new trees that just were put in this past week. We have a brand new camera system, which gives us fantastic cameras throughout the building, inside and outside. And we have a new key fob system for all staff to be able to enter the building, which helps us with security measures as well. And we have a new fire alarm panel that was just installed last week. So our fire alarm panel is back in action. We had a little bit of a problem with it over the summer.
That's all I hate. Can you pass on a packet to Dean?
Oh.
Packet.
We're making sure to recognize our students and our staff this year. So we've instituted the Skyview Hawk of the Month. So these are our September recipients of the Hawk of the Month. We have Jess Weil, who is one of our ABA BCBAs of the district. She was Hawk of the Month for the staff. And then we have 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders who are awarded Hawk of the Month for September. So we're planning on doing this every month to celebrate all the good staff and students in our building. Some other highlights. We had a school group go to Tugas Farm recently, and they picked apples. They also did pumpkin picking. They had lunch, and they just had an absolutely great time there. Beautiful weather. We also want to celebrate Archie coming into the building. He's a therapy dog, and our students love spending time with him, and definitely brightens up the building whenever we have Archie in the building.
Archie.
We're also making sure that we're recognizing attendance and celebrating positive attendance. So in our cafeteria now, which also kind of helps with a little bit of our math focus this year, we have a large chart up there, and we're graphing student attendance by grade per month. Our chronic absenteeism, we're looking for that goal to be under 20%. So in 2023, we were at 32.9% chronic absenteeism. Last year, we ended with 23.7%. So definitely moving in the right direction. And this year, our plan is to get that under 20% for chronic absenteeism. And if students can see how we're celebrating attendance, I think that also helps. We've also done an initiative in the homerooms for the first term. Anybody who had perfect attendance was going to get breakfast. Unfortunately, we have some tardies that are preventing perfect attendance. So we're going to do best attendance per grade level to celebrate the students who are coming into school. So if they're tardy, that's okay, as long as they're getting here. So we're going to do that as well. We have high quality instructional materials in all 4 of our content areas. Study Sync for ELA, TCI for social studies, which is brand new this year, and Open SciEd in science, and Envision by Savas in math. Looking at our MCAS data for Skyview versus the state, we had some areas that increased, definitely in 7th grade. ELA was on the increase this year with student growth percentiles. 7th grade math was an increase as well, and 8th grade ELA also increased. We know we have a little bit of a difference between Skyview versus the state averages, and we're looking to address that through some specific measurable actions this year. Science, you see the NA for the standard growth percentile, student growth percentiles, because that has not been measured. Like I said, we do have an academic focus. I know it's broad to say that we're going to improve academics across all content areas, but we're going to be very specific in how we do that. We're going to improve academic progress among students in subgroups for 1 to 2 grade levels below their peers. We're really going to look at focusing on excellent instruction, focus on the why, using the real world application with students, and using data daily to make informed decisions in the classroom. We know that instructional techniques matter. So we're going to be looking at teachers who are really utilizing the entire class period, have strong student engagement, are on grade level, their classrooms have rigorous lessons. We're going to be leveraging that to promote that throughout the school. We're really looking to build a culture of achievement this year so that all of our classrooms look like that consistently. So how we're going to do that, obviously we're going to focus on our MCAS scores. We have the yearly comparison by standards, Skyview, the district, the state and comparable districts, and we're looking at that to see where Skyview falls. We're going to leverage those high quality instructional materials and the practices that go along with them. We have content specialists in all 4 core areas who have been helpful as far as providing walkthroughs, looking at whether or not the curriculum is being used, how the curriculum is being used, and areas that we can improve. We're also going to be looking at student work analysis. So at least 1 to 2 times per term, we're going to be looking at student work samples with teachers to determine whether or not students are at grade level or below grade level and where we need to adjust our practices. We're big on the learning walks as well. We have an instructional leadership team, and they have already gone on learning walks once this year, and we plan on doing that probably every 2 to 3 weeks with them. And that, again, that's focusing on high quality instructional materials being used and focusing on instructional practices that meet the needs of all students. We also have supports and interventions in place for our ELL students, our special ed students, and students that are under Title I. IRD diagnostics are going to be given 3 times a year. We're going to compare those. We gave the first one in the fall, the second will be in January, and the next one will be in spring, but that provides us some good data as well. But we do know that we need to be looking at data consistently and every day in our classroom with do nows and exit tickets, and also data that's tied to the curriculum. We're going to try to leverage our half days for half day math challenges. So we're going to be looking at every half day this year to be a half day math challenge at Skyview. So this first one, we're going to be looking at average Skyview students. Students will be measuring their arm span, their height, their shoe size, the in-between area between their wrist and their elbow, also measuring the distance between their fingers. And we're going to start compiling that data to look at like what an average Skyview student is. The following half day, the next one, they'll be looking to chart that and graph that and get the line of best fit using all of the math that we're looking at for grade level. We want students to be able to see the real world application of data. We want to make it fun. We want to make it exciting. And if we decide, we're going to do these half day math challenges as something new and different for the building. Social emotional learning is obviously a big focus as well. We want students to feel welcome at school. We want to make sure students feel a connection in the building and like coming to school. So in Wind Block, which is what I need, we have Second Step. That's an intervention for social emotional learning. We also have fantastic guidance counselors in the building who have great connections with students. Our teachers are also very good about calling home, making connections with students and families. And as a staff as a whole, we're tracking absenteeism, student concerns, student grades as well, and making sure we're all looking at that consistently. Community engagement, we're lucky to have a Spanish-speaking assistant principal, Ms. Nolette, which is fantastic for us. We have Andrea Valerio, who is Portuguese-speaking, as our parent liaison. We're making sure we're sending out weekly Skyview updates. Our district calendar marks all of our events. We have a very active PTO. Our school council will start the first week in November, and we've already had 9 parents reach out and say that they are interested in being involved in school council, which is great. We have a Facebook page and we have an Instagram that we're continuously updating to track events. And upcoming, just some fun things that are going on. We have a fall harvest costume dance. We already had a karaoke night this year, which was well attended. So that's for the 6th grade only for the fall harvest costume dance. Then we have our big turkey trot race on November 25th, where the students are going to run down the hill and run back up, which will be good. I am not running down the hill.
That's the easy part. You should do that one.
And our nature's classroom is going from the 1st to the 4th, and our 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip is May 20th to the 23rd. And I was fortunate enough to go on that trip last year, and that was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to another good Washington, D.C. trip. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
We have a lot going on.
We have a lot going on, right? Yeah, a lot going on. So a lot of good stuff going on, which is, you know, the kids are excited, the teachers are excited. The first time with the math, half-day math challenge, it might be a little bumpy, but we've got a lot of, yeah, I like that too. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fun. And then we have like another one that we're thinking about where students were able to like build paper airplanes, and then they'd have to modify their design. So it's really not just math. It ends up being like interdisciplinary. We have readings for the students to interact with and answer questions. So it's not just math. It's a little bit more interdisciplinary, but it's something that's fun and engaging for them. And our math teachers have been fantastic helping with that.
All right. Thank you. Nice job.
very much.
Okay, everybody's good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Who's ready for some Skyview trivia? What was this room called?
Pocket theater.
Oh, you win.
Fine.
What was the final cost on the building?
Oh.
Well, anybody want to guess?
30 million.
No.
Lower? Yes, lower,
I'd say 18.
upper a little bit. It was 19.2 million. Today,
It
you
would be
couldn't build a
100
driveway.
million now.
Could build a shed for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was well built. I mean, the school was well built. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you got to spend money maintaining these buildings because no one costs
Big.
so much more. So just a little trivia.
Nice.
There'll be more. All right, let's move on. Thank you for that presentation. Let's now move on to MASC resolutions.
Oh, boy.
This is always the highlight of,
Yeah.
this shows the disconnect in education in the Commonwealth of
Absolutely.
Massachusetts.
I know there was a couple here. It was a question.
So everybody had a chance to run through them?
Yes.
Anybody want to summarize them for us?
No.
The first one is student achievement with resolution 1, development of alternative to high stakes MCAS tests. Well, the ballot initiative may dictate that.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I mean, I think we have so just for folks who have never done this before, we vote on this, but it's not necessarily binding to anything.
Right.
And subject to change, well,
That day.
that day. But Ron will represent us and say, this is what Leominster weighed in on. So
Resolution 2,
I'm fine with supporting that. It should, he's got to know what we're going to do.
Yes.
So I'm fine with supporting that.
I'm just going to read resolution because it's on the same page and then we can kind of vote.
Okay.
But read through this one because it was submitted by the Brockton School Committee. Now, obviously, a different issue that they face daily than us.
Right.
And this is one where school attendance refers to the minimum and maximum age required by each state in which a student must be enrolled in attending public school or some equivalent accredited education program defined by law, whereas an increased compulsory attendance age reflects the realities of the 21st century. So you can see they're dealing with issues that are different than ours. And I mean, I think that the support will come from other cities in the Commonwealth, gateway cities. So we'll take the first one, the resolution on student achievement. And these are just resolutions. So doesn't mean you're taking a position either way on MCAS. It's a resolution. So if you vote for this, it's a resolution that is going to appear before the full Mass Association of School Committees.
Right.
It doesn't mean you've
Locked anything in.
exactly.
And it changes there because they argue and fight and that's
Right.
I attended a Zoom meeting 2 weeks ago regarding these resolutions, and the reason why they decided to have a Zoom meeting was because of the chaos that occurred last year. They were still upset last year, and they tried putting into practice or try to put into practice certain things to make people understand that, you have to go by Robert's Rules of Order. You can't just all of a sudden decide to stop it or go above it or underneath it. And there was still some people, even on Zoom, that didn't want to hear about how they had to, because they're looking at this with a lot of dread. They really don't. In fact, they changed the day. It's going to be on a Saturday. This resolution thing, where last year was on a Wednesday.
They're hoping you go home.
right.
Well,
And the only people back there support their initiative.
and there's a meeting Saturday at Monty Tech, October 26th. Where's my cell phone? I looked it up because I kept on hemming and hawing. It's Neshoba Valley Tech, 100 Littleton Road, Westford, Mass. That's what it says. And I signed up already for it because it says Neshoba, yeah. And they're gonna have a whole bunch of things. because,
So I guess people, if anybody else wants besides you to go to, they can just connect with you and get the
well,
information.
they must have got something by email from MASC.
Yeah.
So
It
the
is-
guys are
Into
free
this-
to join.
In other words, what this is saying is there are high stakes testing, there's other things, the kids are different. And this is,
There's a
again,
lot of
probably another
commercials on it.
gateway issue because it's gateway cities that don't do as well as some of the more wealthy and affluent communities.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
yeah.
it might be a battle. So if somebody wanna,
I'll make a
do we
motion
wanna
to
support
support
it?
this.
I'll
as
second
it
it.
Clearly,
enters into the, as,
pray.
yeah, and who knows what it looks like.
I'll second it.
And a second by Melissa Bible. Any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor? And the resolution too, to
Really to move the dropout rate to
Yes.
18 instead of 16.
exactly,
And
right.
so I'll make a motion to approve that.
And I'll second it.
All right, all in favor? Those opposed? And safe storage of firearms.
Oh, this one,
I personally just feel that it's not the school's responsibility to educate people on safe storage of firearms. I think that's other entities personally. So
I agree.
I am
Even
not
at the
necessarily,
Zoom
I think
meeting,
we
even
are
at-
doing a lot of things, but that has nothing to necessarily do with education.
Agreed.
even at the Zoom meeting, there were people that were up in arms about it because this thing had already happened in, where was
Well,
it?
it's horrendous and we don't want
In
anything to
Indiana,
happen, but I don't think it's the school's
Tennessee was
responsibility.
where the
It's parents'
parents were held
responsibility.
liable.
It's-
I agree with you.
And, you know, it's, I mean, we can giggle about it, but at the Zoom meeting, they were really, there was about three matches away from just a full blown out right on Zoom. And so they were saying they were gonna have to table it and hold it for the day of the meeting because they were forwarding information towards a lawyer, because there were some people that were, you know, both pro and con.
They're going outside of their their areas.
Right.
Yeah.
I went through some of this, Greg, and I think the basis of it is getting that message out that you need to be a responsible gun owner walking is a reminder. So I think what they're trying to do is get it out in as many areas as they can about, let's face it, right? A lot of deaths wouldn't have happened if people properly stored their ammunition in their guns.
Absolutely.
And I think this is sponsored by City of Framingham, and they're just trying to say, it's just another venue to try to work with the different agencies to get the message out, because apparently it's not getting out everywhere to everyone. So I don't know how everybody feels about it, but anybody want to make a motion to approve? Or is that not something we care too much about in this venue?
See both sides.
Yeah.
Me too.
I do.
Yeah. And I certainly am a proponent for gun safety.
I just don't think it's a school.
All right, we can leave
Yeah.
it hanging. It's not a big deal. He's our delegate. He can vote, he can vote for us. School bus stop, surveillance.
So, yeah,
What's that?
I motion to approve that.
Second.
So what happens is legally, you can't just issue a citation with a camera right now. And so they're trying to make it a law so that you can.
Great.
All right? So that's a quick one. All in favor? Those opposed? Resolution 5, aligning taxing authority with the required local contribution. I'm not sure how that would work. It gets into taxation.
Of course, Arlington.
It allows, is it allowing the municipality to exceed the 2.5?
Yes, to go over Prop 2.5. And I
So
think,
how is that possible? They're gonna have to change the law.
yeah, well, this is a resolution to do that. And,
Well, the brand. No.
so what's happened is there are many communities, and I'm not saying it's bad budgeting, or then have people like Melanie and others in the system who watched over the system. It's the truth. And so now they've overexpended themselves. They used ARBA money for fixed cost. And so they have no way, they might not be getting an override approval.
Every week I see the votes going out
Going down.
and less than 50% are approved. But
So what they're saying now is, and I'm not saying Arlington's a victim of that, but that happened there, but it's happening where communities are saying, well, we're gonna be at pretty soon we're either not gonna be able to get the vote of the town, or we're gonna max out Prop 2.5. And the only way we're gonna get our budgets funded is to go for overrides, and that's probably not gonna work, so this would circumvent this.
I don't support this at all.
So, we can just leave it, you don't have to vote on it, it's not a
I'm
big deal.
no, though. I like, what do we all,
I mean, the chances of this passing is probably slim to none. But there are communities that are in trouble, and this is their way out. And they, whatever the reason is, it gets more and more communities added to the list, but people voted for Prop 2.5 unless they voted out or an override or debt exclusion. That's the whole point. They do have a right to vote for a debt exclusion or override.
and they
That's
failed
their option.
miserably.
This is trying to circumvent that. Resolution 6, support of legislation to improve the fiscal health of rural school districts. I wish them well,
So, well, I would
but they
support
cut
that.
our bus funding
Well,
to the state.
that's
but
the
they
next one.
didn't cut us, right? I mean, that they cut us.
But there is one resolution to give us that money back, which we should definitely vote for.
Well, on the road,
No.
yeah, right. Fully adjust in chapter 78 for inflation. And I think a lot of communities got hurt because there wasn't that adjustment for inflation, and they have the millionaire's tax now, and that's something that could be used to offset the inflation part of this, where our schools and the funding hasn't kept up with inflation. So
About 5 or 6 years ago, there was a guy by the name of Cahill, and he was pushing to have 0.5 cent of the taxes to be picked up and used for state funding. And what they said at the Zoom thing was, it was a beautiful idea, but there was one small problem. It didn't work.
well, remember we had this discussion about the millionaire's tax.
Right.
And our impression and hope was that the money was going to come back to public schools. And already now they're using it for other things. And now they're using it, maybe potentially to balance the budget. And that's exactly what upsets taxpayers. I don't think taxpayers get upset, but they get upset when we say we're going to use something specifically for something, but it's not in the legislation that we have to use it for that. And therefore, that's the reason we can't get more money in transportation, because we put money towards things and then later don't use them for that. We ended up using them because, you know what I'm saying? People have a problem earmarking something like, yeah, okay, it's 5 cents more or whatever. Okay, that's no problem. Gas tax, whatever. But then they use it to, so.
Do something else.
Exactly.
That's that.
So anyway, full adjusting chapter 70. Would somebody like to make a motion on this one? This is sponsored by the Everett School System. Motion by Sal. Anybody else?
I'll second
A
it.
second by Eileen. All in favor? Those opposed? We'll now move on to,
Resolution 8 is the funding with non-regional school districts.
yeah, so that's us.
So
Yeah.
that's us.
Yeah.
So I vote yes, that we are
All right.
support this.
And Melissa's the second. All in favor? Those opposed? Number 9, MSBA grants evaluation for chapter 74. So that's technical schools and so the last portion of it all, call upon the legislature to convene a special commission to consider
sure.
changes to the current law.
Make a motion to approve that.
And second? All right.
Second.
All in favor? And expiring resolutions. Bylaws, resolutions,
wait,
delegate.
Time, you missed time.
just one more.
On the bottom.
Vocational, technical programs.
I'm red and green colorblind, so this is not easy for me.
Same.
This is bad. I need to try to squint my way through this. All right, 10 is expansion and capacity in chapter 74 vocational tech programs.
This was another one of those things that it started off with one person over there and just went like wildfire, because the argument they made, and a bunch of others too, was that there's a lot of demands for vocational, technical jobs, but the capacity to deliver to those vocational jobs, they can't keep up. They really cannot keep up. Some were saying they don't have enough space. Others were saying, well, if we have classes at night, we're going to have hire teachers to be there at night. And along with the teachers, you're going to have maintenance and costs, money.
I mean, this really is highlighting school districts that don't have adequate access to vocational and technical schools.
In Garden, what happened is they're part of Monty Tech.
Right.
And every meeting, the mayor was, there's this big issue is that kids that were going into, that we weren't getting to the kids who really needed a chance and an opportunity, because it was all being sort of pushed out because some of the schools want to have better performance and smarter kids.
Cherry
And,
picking.
that's what they want. So they want their schools to look better and the numbers to look better. So that they weren't giving an equal opportunity to those kids who really wanted to go here. And a lot of these kids didn't end up using the trade. They took it because it was available. So I think they're trying to, when they talk about weighted and performance, I have to say I agree with that. I think we don't have that issue here, Superintendent. I don't think we can say we have that issue. If a kid wants a chance, they get a chance. I can't say that's the case in all schools, and that's from hearing from other
And I think for
sources.
those regional vocational schools, they take only a certain amount from each
And the
school
cream of the crop,
district.
cream of the
Right.
crop.
And
There was a
as
thing in the
opposed to
Boston Globe
take
2 weeks
everybody.
ago, but primarily that there was a kid who wanted, I don't remember what the vocation was. He was in the 9th or 10th grade, he wanted this particular thing, and he couldn't.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, he's a junior, some other school, and now he's gonna be able to have a chance, but he's gotta catch up on a lot of stuff that he couldn't do.
They are very competitive now. They're very competitive now. There's not enough space in all of them, including us.
Minuteman Vocational was years ago trying to figure out what they were gonna do because nobody was coming into taking vocational education. Now it's a lottery, I mean, now they're waiting in line. So I think we agree on this. So if somebody wants to make the motion. All right, Sal, Sandy second. Thank you. Who knew? Banning polystyrene from school. Are these the pending ones that never got
I don't
approved?
have anything to do with any of those.
And they said they
Diversity,
might bring them back. The ones that are near expiration date, they might bring them back. They might, note the word might, depending on how much of an
I mean, I
argument they
think you
get
can-
there.
Sure,
I'll make a motion to support this.
sure. Yep, I'll second.
No styrofoam.
What's all the expiring ones?
Yeah, we don't have to vote on these. These may get taken up under old business. I don't think we've already voted on them last
Oh,
time.
great.
All right, so, charter school reform, all these things may or may not get taken up. We've already taken, votes on these things. All right, well, thanks for everybody's attention. Just on the financial literacy, Superintendent, I know we talked last year about some financial literacy. I don't know if we participate anymore, but the credit unions used to sponsor these, and they used to do it actually at St. Bernard's. They did a couple places, and it was very organized. Our kids came in and went ahead and spent all this money. Later to find out they're over budget. To me, it was one of the best experiences. I don't know if we do that any longer, but I think maybe in time, not right away, just what do we do? What other things can we add to financial literacy? Because I think it's, with all the gimmicks that are out there today, zero down for the first year. I mean, just so many gimmicks to get people to spend money. Then you find out later that, what? They did what? So, yeah, whatever you can come up with. I think the committee would be supportive of that, and parents especially. You can't spend more than you make. That's
I
easy
did a
to say.
business, when I was in high school, there was a business math class, whatever it was called.
Yeah, I think
And it
there
was
is right now.
And it was really good. You had a budget, like a road trip, wherever you wanted to go. It was really cool.
Hampton Beach, that's where we went. So I could afford that. All right, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. All right, approval of the minutes, October 7th, 2024. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Make a motion to approve those minutes?
All right, motion to approve,
I'll second it.
and a second by Ron. Are there any errors or omissions? If not, all in favor? Thank you. And policy subcommittee?
So we had a meeting today to discuss the athletic policy JJB. We're still tweaking some of the language, so we will, Chris is going to nicely do a draft, and then we'll review it, and then we'll submit it to the whole the whole committee to vote on. But at this point, it's still a work in progress. We did approve, all the handbooks.
Yes.
Everyone has the finished product here. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the handbooks for, elementary, middle school and high school.
Okay, you heard the motion. There's a second by Alyssa. Any other questions or comments about? So tell people to read these things. Maybe this is like the word of the day. You read a policy of the day,
They're supposed to read it and sign
I
it,
know.
return.
but in my informal.
The end of the week would be great.
No one does that.
Everybody flips to the last page and then signs it. And then later, "Oh, I didn't know that." It's only natural. It's, how many times you read your insurance policy? Did you
What?
read yours?
When I first got it.
It's on like the
When you need to make
50th
a claim, that's when you read it. All right, all in favor of these, three new handbooks? In favor? Those opposed? Okay, we have approved handbooks, parents. This should be night reading. Homework, we'll be doing the
Don't
test.
even read their employee handbook.
Finance updates. Do we have a finance update?
Did not meet.
What?
Is there a meeting this week?
Melanie? This is like, it's like when you have
That's what we.
a tax, like
She comes to the meeting anyway.
like an amnesty day. Today's the amnesty day.
We appreciate it.
I feel better. On the issue of finance, I know Jen is going to talk to you. Superintendent asked me about 2 additional buses. So Jen and I had to get through some financial things that we needed to get done in preparation for some bonding. And I said, let's just, so we sat down today, heads were clear. So get us some numbers there. And so we hope to be able to help you out with those. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the work was on our side, because like I said, we had this whole bonding thing that we've got to deal with in preparation of the fall book school, so. Yep.
Will these buses be diesel or electric?
Whatever we contract with the bus
Right,
company.
it's whatever the bus
Just
company
getting
has.
more buses onto the route.
For the
Because
routes,
the last
bus
time
routes.
I asked about electric buses, I have everybody looking at me like I.
You can
Yeah,
get a grant
but
for,
like,
my
for
forehead.
you can
students,
get a
they
grant
always
for
have
electric
buses.
bus.
What's that?
You can get a grant for electric, you just gotta, I mean, you can get a grant for
Oh,
electric.
I know. But
Our-
the
our
last
bus
time
company
I
doesn't supply us
mentioned
with
about electric buses,
I think the city of Boston got them right after you said that too.
See, Boston gets everything.
I don't know how they don't run out of power from one red light to the other, because that's how long it takes. And all these
Think of it
things
back.
last. All right, thank you on those items. We have a second reading of the student handbooks,
We
which
just
we've
did.
done. Acceptance of a gift.
Yay,
We
A
love
gift?
gifts.
What's the gift?
$1,000.
Really?
$1,000. Yep.
I'm also to approve it.
We were provided $1,000 check for our participation rate for breakfast for students
Oh, nice.
at Francis Drake.
Nice. Good. Okay, motion to approve the gift.
motion.
All right, all in favor?
Yep.
Okay, approval of the field trip. Where are we going?
Fire.
Oh, yeah. I did read it.
This is to participate in
Show choir.
Bay State Show Choir event festival.
Oh, cool. All right,
Make a
motion.
motion to approve.
All right, Melissa makes it. And we have a
Second
second. By a second. By Eileen, all in favor? Those opposed? New old business?
Any update on the field?
We had a bid that came in
Really low.
kind of on the low side. So Anthony from, I still call Whitman Bingham, is almost done with them to make sure the company that we give the work to can actually do the work. And then it's, we award the bid and get moving. So if they in fact can do the work, like they said they could, I mean, they were off by quite a bit. We just want to make sure that they can do what they say they're gonna do. We don't want to halfway through the project.
Just to clarify, there's no plan for a softball.
Well, we could start putting in change orders.
Right, if it's really.
I just had a question by a citizen.
Right, and I think we're back to where we started from is, this was 1963 when they built the school, they were supposed to build a field, they didn't do it. So we're building a field for the school. And practice, this is not gonna be a facility, it's in writing,
Except for the track and field.
Right.
It will be a
but we're not gonna rent it out to other communities and other organizations. It's a school field. We didn't wanna have javelin going on at the same time people are walking on the other, because that was me, I'd probably pick somebody off.
But is it a softball field our softball team could have games at, or do we have to go to?
Plastically.
But
Continue to go
the
to
person that
Lexi.
made the point is basically we're closing the gaps on every other team
Right.
playing at a.
Well, the original proposal that was done by, Coach Palazzi was he was trying to make it as much a multi-sport facility as he possibly could. That's not like out the door, but, the bids came in at what was, proposed with the field. And so there's some other things that we might be able to do if in fact those bids came in that low.
So
But right now, we need to get this track done. We need to get this
Right.
field.
having been on the committee for a long time and this being in front of us for 20 years, the plans have looked and I'm not being facetious, it really has been.
20 years.
We didn't.
Plans have changed.
I
in
brought it in,
respects.
I didn't bring it in 20 years ago. This never even came up. This came up 8 years ago, 9 years ago. It wasn't 20. I really think.
It's been on for a long time,
Right,
but it's looked different
yes.
at many different
Right. The original
aspects.
is pretty much what you see now. Then it went to the schools.
Then it went to
And then it went to Coach
expanded.
Palazzi, and it went to a bunch of other people, and the thing grew. And then it grew to 18 million when we cost estimated it. So we're back basically to the original proposal, which was
So at one point, there was a softball field.
This
There's
thing.
no longer.
growth. Okay. All right, so
There was also like a concession stand. There were
Yes.
other things that
There's
are no
some
longer.
concession stand might be built by the CTI or, whatever.
Where did we land with the lighting? Because I know that was a neighbor issue. And
Okay.
it's still,
Lighting, we'll rough it in, but you've seen the lighting at Doyle.
Yeah.
You used to be able to tell if there was a game at Doyle from Worcester.
Right.
Now, you could drive by and you're not sure there's a game because the lighting is like, so look, I don't think
But
they
it
wanted
also is
to,
very intense and bright there,
Yes.
which is wonderful.
right, on the field,
On the
where it ought to be.
Yeah.
There's no plan to put lighting in. But that's the
What
last thing.
what kind of grass is gonna be grown?
Well, it might
Is
be
it gonna be
turf.
grass or is it astroturf?
It might be turf. That's what we're looking at now.
AstroTurf?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, not trying to sound like a negative, but there's been a lot of increase in injuries with the usage of AstroTurf.
It's
Yes or no?
it's field turf now. It's not like
It's different.
it's very composite.
Once
They lay down
Anthony makes-
dirt.
Once Anthony goes through the thing, I'll have him come to the meeting and he can go through the whole plan for you. So everybody's up to
Field
date.
turf is
Yes.
made very different than what it used to be in the 80s and
Yeah.
stuff. Like
Because they're still having injuries in the NFL on the turf.
Yeah, if you get hit by one of those guys, you'd be injured
You're
too.
going to be injured no matter
Yeah,
what.
but even
Have
when,
to.
yeah, but
That's why I know it.
fields of cotton, you're gonna
the
get hurt if
worst thing
someone's
is the
coming at you.
the worst thing is the non-contact injury.
Well, yes.
Well, no, I know what I'm talking, because they've been talks about that, about going back to that, because soccer players will play on the NFL field because they like the natural grass because of the injury.
Right. Oh, there's a lot of people that make natural. Melissa?
Just really quick, attendance at the high school games has been lovely, but that parking lot is pitch black at night. Is there anything?
Which one?
The doors?
You know what? It might be because they haven't retimed the lights yet. Because it's getting darker sooner.
Maybe. So
Yeah.
yes, so
So they
P
probably
Street
have
is
to-
lit. But
Right,
in the
not
parking
the-
lot, as kids are coming and going to their cars,
Okay.
it's really dark. So
Okay,
if
we'll-
there's something.
We'll get it lit. I'm sure that's what it is now. Everything's changing over to.
Okay.
Stock at like 4 PM now. No, that's another couple weeks. It'll be back at that time. Anything, Superintendent? Anything that you want to jump in with here on everything's going smoothly and you're happy? And oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up is I know that attendance is, we're trying to get kids to come to school, but I don't want to miscommunicate that students come to school sick
Mhm.
because they're in risk of being like decertified by the state and all that. I think some parents
Kids get sick. It happens.
yes, and they're coming to school and getting every other kid sick.
Right.
And just don't know. I mean, we're really pushing to get kids to come to school when they're healthy, but when they're legitimately sick, all they're doing is just infecting the whole building.
Yeah.
So parents are like, I don't know, they're gonna report me to state. I'm gonna get, I'm like, calm down. Call somebody and explain that, your kids. You got 4 kids. That thing's gonna travel around the house at least 5 times during the school year, and vacation too, right?
Well, there's a difference between having an
Yes.
excused absence because
Yes.
you're ill or have a
Exactly.
doctor's appointment, et
But
cetera,
some people get really
then
anxious about
skipping
this.
school
Yes, they're getting
and
anxious about
refusing
this.
to go.
So parents, hand wash, all that good stuff, but if your kids are really sick, don't send them to school. just getting everybody else sick, and they're just getting everybody else sick, and it's just gonna go on, especially now where people are indoors. This nice weather, people have been out. We've seen COVID cases go down almost nothing, but you know, as soon as we're back inside again, it's just, you know, flus, and colds, and everything else goes up. Anything else in the new old business? If not, motion to adjourn? Yes.
Yes.
What is it called?
Ballotpedia.
It's like Wikipedia.
Oh.
They give you a code, give you a time, and then it also tells you what's going on. That's the things like that, wasn't whatever. Interesting. I was just wondering.
I haven't got one, but I do get a lot of emails from kids that are raising money for the theater program.
Me too.
So I don't mind sponsoring, but is that each student that's looking for somebody to sponsor them because they have to raise a certain amount of money, or is it the program?
It's the program, and I think all the kids in the
Trying to raise money
program
for the
are
program.
trying to raise
So
money.
if I send like one check, it isn't going to just one
No, no,
student.
no.
It's the program. All right.
They're just sending emails,
All
I
right.
think, to everyone they can possibly think of.
I'm getting like
Right.
20 at the time. I'm like, well, I give them each $25 times 10.
Well,
they're
kids
doing-
know you, so.
That's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I just want to make sure I'm
Yeah,
sponsoring
no, that's a
the
good
program.
question.
All right, and it's like buying Girl Scout cookies,
Right.
right? You can buy one for everybody. All right, motion to adjourn. All in favor? Those opposed?